In Colorado, a dinosaur which we are pretty familiar with shows its face again, the Austroraptor. Before it was stalking the grounds of the Colorado Dinosaur Preserve, it was out here in the wild, stalking other things. Like the subject of today's video, the Scutosaurus, a large, Permian herbivore that has been stalking the grounds for millions and millions of years, and of course was brought back by Ingen. But despite all that, is the Scutosaurus successful enough to get away from an Austroraptor? Despite being a scavenger, in desperate times, any predator will go for something quite unusual. The Austroraptor has a pretty good sense of smell, and Scutosauruses are pretty well known for not being a very pleasant smelling animal, so it was only natural to come here first. She's about ready to attack, and it only takes a few moments for the Scutosaurus to finally realize that it is being watched. But the Scutosaurus doesn't have to do much, for it is a walking shield, as we will quickly see. The Scutosaurus wins this dispute. It might not be its last, but it'll definitely win another day. As for the Austroraptor, this hunt was unsuccessful, but it will find more success in the Colorado Dinosaur Preserve, soon to be its permanent home. But this is just another day for the Scutosaurus. Sadly, it has to live in a world where a lot of predators think it's an easy target because it's a smaller animal. But our Scutosaurus was a Permian success story, as besides the very large predators that had bone-crushing jaws that it had to worry about, the Scutosaurus was practically a living tank. Combined with the fact that Ingen used rhino DNA to fill in the gaps for the Scutosaurus, its skin is practically impenetrable. In fact, evolution seems to be so cocky about this fact that they've given the Scutosaurus a very, very bright color scheme. Most of the varieties we've seen have been orange, blue, and white. However, despite the bright colors, Scutosauruses are not immune to danger. Many poachers like their large tusks because, similar to elephants, they are made of ivory. But many protection organizations have set up shop around here recently, specifically to protect this Scutosaurus. He is a larger than normal male, so he would be a very valuable target to those willing to hunt him. But these precious tusks have a very important use. They are used for digging up seeds. Large weed seeds, specifically under the ground, are its favorite. It can take a solid half hour for it to actually finally dig out one of these seeds, but once it does, it's well worth it. For the Scutosaurus, they are a very beloved snack. Once it's dug up the treat, it will do something kind of peculiar, but for a Scutosaurus it makes sense. It will bash into it. The soft innards are a very tasty snack for the Scutosaur. They're also very high in nutrients for it as well. The parts that it doesn't eat, it buries back underground so it can repeat the cycle again. And it repeats this process about 8 times per day, meaning that it usually eats 8 seeds. But if there's ever a shortage, Scutosauruses have a system that's very efficient. They will rub over the seeds that they have just planted so other Scutosauruses can smell the scent of a newly planted seed and then come and eat it again. For an animal basically built like a cow, you wouldn't have thought they were so intelligent, would you? Digging up 8 seeds per day requires a very powerful physique, so the Scutosauruses usually are very, very strong, and those who aren't strong enough usually don't survive very long. If you also look at their eyes, you can see that they have large patches of blue around them, which many people think is actually a way to block out the sun. Raccoons use a similar method with their eyes, but the question is, why would the Scutosaurus need that? The Permian era was very arid, so many paleontologists believe the reason they have these large eye spots is to block out the sun, which back then was much more prominent than it is today. But I hope you enjoyed these nice little facts about the Scutosaurus. Thank you all for watching today's episode, and next time we'll be talking about a much different animal, something completely different, something a little bit more green. And as always, remember, if something chases you, run.